people, we are back. The Race for Europe show is here. And if Carlsberg did weekend, then yes, it would be one of them as far as Arsenal are concerned. And do you know what? I'm going to have some happy faces on the panel as well as myself this weekend for sure. One of the goals of the season this weekend, a lot of drop points from teams that I'm very happy drop points. And we've got to talk about Aston Villa. We're going to talk about Newcastle when Pete comes on. We're going to talk about Man United. And of course, we're going to start with Man City and Liverpool. Lawless is going to be with us. He's going to be late. Let's introduce the panel. You know him very well by now. Billy, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. Top four villains. Oh, I could get used to that.
Well, you might have to get used to it, mate. It's looking very likely at the moment, the way Villa are playing, and particularly in the second half. I thought you were really, really good. Question marks over the first half, but we'll get into it. LB, how are you, mate? Are you all good?
I'm all good, man. All good. Everything is fine.
Just get off.
What is this?
Honestly, mate, every time I go fishing live.
You're putting cat ruining my intro, Dan.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Unacceptable.
That is unacceptable. Just like Man City at the weekend. Dan, how are you, bruv?
A bit of a bones picking you, mate. One of the goals of the season. That is goal of the season, and we're in November.
I thought you were going to say it weren't. Oh, blimey, I was going to say, what's happening? Mate, that is goal of the season. No, you're right. I should have said goal of the season already. Do you know what is mad? Because I sat with my dad and I said, do you know what? That Alisson goal is going to be up there for goal of the season already. And then boom, day later, done. Wrapped up, mate. That's better than Rooney's. We'll get into it, but that is better than Rooney's. It was absolutely sensational, mate. But listen, Man United are in crisis. 6 points off the title, mate.
False position again. I'll keep saying that until I'm blue in the face. Let's play some property.
You need to big up your team more, bro, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I do. Look, I do, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know if we'll get into it more in a bit. I've got my stuff to say on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Errol, big up, my bro. How are you?
I'm good, boys. I'm all good. I'm chilling. Not quite like a villain like Billy, but we're doing all right. We're doing okay. Yeah, looking forward to the chat this evening, so I'm sure we'll get into it.
Well, we are going to get into it. We're going to start with your game, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Villa, and then go into Arsenal, United, and West Ham, leading it extremely late. And hopefully Pete will be on to talk about his battering that he gave Chelsea, because I watched that game, and it was, it was embarrassing as far as Chelsea concerned. Errol, I think that's a brilliant result for Liverpool. And I will say it's a brilliant result because I don't think that there's many teams that are going to go to the Etihad and pick up much this season. Even though Man City, people are saying, are not the same. They're not at his best. Not that they're there to be taken. I get that. I mean, that's a good result. I think Man City controlled most of the first half. I think maybe the first 10, 15, Liverpool could have looked at, thought they'd done all right. I have to talk about Trent. What a goal, by the way. What a goal. Don't know that he should have got man of the match. We'll come into that in a minute. I mean, well, don't know. I mean, it's actually a shambles that you got to give a man of the match, in my opinion. However, Liverpool picked up a point. Talk to me, bro. How you feeling?
Do you know what? Everyone always says it before, you go and play City. If they offered you a point now, would you bite the hand off for it? And I'm always a bit like, no, I want to see how we play against them. I want to see how we perform. And, I did the match preview with LB. And even in that, I said, it feels like it's the right time to just go toe-to-toe with City, go blow for blow and see who comes out on top as the better team. That's what I really want to see. And I think it was a little bit underwhelming, if I'm completely honest with you, from that perspective. I don't think either of our forward lines, mine or, Liverpool's and City's, were at their brilliant best at all on the day. I thought City were phenomenal for large parts of that first half, really. And it just goes to show, even when you take a couple of players out from, their team and you think it's not full strength, the way that they control the ball, move the ball, just drop into these half spaces where players just don't know whether to go with them, pick them up, do what are they doing? They're all kind of looking at each other to say, are you going with him or do you want me to follow him? And it just becomes so hard to really get a grip of them. You can't kick, we said that, in the preview as well, LB, it's not been the type of rivalry where you're just kicking lumps out of each other. It's because you're chasing shadows. If you try and kick lumps out of this City team, you're going to be 5-6 yards off it because they'll be gone. Like, that's how good they are at the minute. And I still think they are the absolute nailed on favourites for the league this season. I think it was a good display from Liverpool in terms of the resilience and staying in the game. A game like that, and I think the players have already acknowledged it. Last season, City would have put 2 and 3 past us, and we'd either been out of sight, which means there's no chance for Liverpool to stay in the game and see if there is anything that you can kind of sneak out of it very last minute. But it was just the way that the game's panning out, and the longer that it pans out, the fact that Pep is very hesitant to use any of his substitutes, which I just thought was a bit of a bizarre decision from him. You can say, all right, well, what substitutes can you use? There's a time and place. I didn't. It was there. It was a game that you think Liverpool have to win. Pep didn't want to use any subs. He had Rico Lewis on the bench. He had John Stones on the bench. He had is it Mateus? Is it that guy you've got, Nunes?
He wasn't
I
there.
want to say
We had literally no one on the bench. The only player that could have come on really is Rico Lewis. That was it.
But you had John Stones. John Stones was available.
Yeah, but you weren't going to risk him. He's literally had like 1 day.
When you
training,
1-0 up, and you just want to see out a win, and I know that's not particularly City's style as such, but given the circumstances, given the team, you'd sit there and you'd think, all right, well, we'll take the 1-0 now. As long as we stop Liverpool from scoring, we win, yeah. And maybe, all right, you might think, all right, we didn't have enough on the bench to really bring on and potentially do that. But I think that's where the game kind of then swung in Liverpool's favour, especially in that second half. I think Trent mentions it in his post-match, showing City far too much respect. I said it then, you can't kick lumps out of them, but you can get closer to them. You can get tighter to them if you try, and don't let them have so much of the ball and just look shiny and glossy and just be in awe of this team. You're a capable side yourselves. You've got technicians now in midfield. Everyone moaned at me last season, or moaned at Liverpool fans in general. You know, Fabinho's done, Henderson's done. You've got no legs. You're still using Milner. Thiago's injury prone. We've now got what we'd consider technicians in the midfield engine room, and we didn't see enough of them on the ball actually playing through the middle of the park. Everything was going down the sides for us. It was so difficult to really get any joy out of that City midfield the other day. I thought Rodri was exceptional. Bernardo Silva, again, you drop him. I said to LB the other day, you drop him 20 yards deeper, and I'm not really that afraid of him. He still pulls the strings. Still got an amazing amount of ability to be able to pull the strings. So it is scary, you know, going out of there and leaving with a point. It does feel like it is a well-earned point from our perspective. I think LB would put...
Sorry about that. That's the wife on her bloody TikTok.
So if it's not the cat, it's the wife.
My man Errol's talking. One more time.
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, no,
cat's another girlfriend. What's happening? It was wife, should I say? What's happening?
Don't say girlfriend, wife. Doesn't know about that one, mate.
Yeah.
Go on, Errol. Continue. Sorry, bro.
No, it's all good. But to summarize, I just feel as though for Liverpool to have taken a point away from there, it does well for our mentality to keep the momentum that we've got. To know that, you know, City laid the glove on us and give us a bloody nose, but we're capable of giving them a bloody nose back. Do I think we're going to see a Liverpool City the same way you seen Chelsea City the other day, and it was a 4-4 and it was a blockbuster game this season? I don't think so. I don't think we'll see the reverse in Anfield. The only way that happens potentially is if we buck heads in what would be the FA Cup now at some point in a neutral ground, maybe if it was a semi or a final. That's the only way where I can see fireworks between Liverpool and City this season. But we'll take that point. I know I keep saying it's the draws that kill you, but to take a point against one of your title rivals, that also kills and dents their title potential as well a little bit. So, we can talk on Trent's goal and we can unpack that, but I've said it and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, really. I expect quality, world-class, top-class, top, whatever you want to call them, brilliant forwards should rinse fullbacks every single game, once, twice, 3 times. It's what they do once they've rinsed their fullback that makes me go, wow, that was brilliant. And he could have had 2 assists on another day. So it's not to say that he didn't do his part, Doku. But I don't think the rinsing, as social media likes to make out, and rival fans and all that, was as extensive as people make out. I think
it was, Errol. It was, Errol.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't.
No, it was. Doku was having an absolute field day, bro. Come on.
The only reason we're talking
let
about
me just finish then. Let me finish though. We will see that. We'll see Doku rinse all other fullbacks and other defenders to a higher degree than what he rinsed Trent for the rest of the season. I can guarantee it, because that was a mild.
But he still did rinse him.
If you went to Nando's, all right. Here's the analogy. If you went to Nando's, what spice was that rinsing? What spice was the cooking? Because I'm just saying
Probably
that was
hot.
needed.
Probably hot.
That
It probably wasn't
mild.
extra hot. But it was probably hot. It wasn't extra hot.
It wasn't garlic and herb, mate. It was.
It was
Nah.
garlic and herb, Pops.
No word. No word.
Errol. The only reason we're talking about Trent is because what he did up the top of the field. He wasn't spectacular at the back of the field.
I didn't say he
Why don't
was,
they
but I
just-
think I
I'm
said
not-
he held his own.
Let me land. What I'm saying is, they've got to move him forward, mate. That's what he is. He's not a defender, is he? I mean, this natural progression of Trent, it's got to happen. I don't know why you guys don't go out there and buy a right back and do him the justice pushing him forward.
He's a
Because
sensational footballer, man. But
isn't he just? Isn't he just? I hate saying it, but isn't he just?
Oh,
He's
unbelievable.
Yusuf says it. If that's a cooking, then I don't want to eat that because that's salmonella settings. Big up man like Yusuf in the chat because he knows that he really didn't get roasted. He didn't though. He didn't get put on his ass. He didn't do no Martinez where he's spinning into the next realm and coming back into this.
Didn't get near Ake though, did he? Didn't get near Ake when Ake.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But Ake wasn't Doku. Everyone's chatting like it was Doku that rinsed him. He didn't get near Ake. But
So he got rinsed by a centre back.
Ake got rinsed. Ake rinsed two players before he got to Trent. Bear in mind. So you can't just say, well, Trent's not a right back because he skips past the right winger and then he skips past the centre mid and then he skips past Trent as well. So I can understand that he didn't, he wasn't phenomenal defensing, but I think he held his own against a tricky winger. He definitely held his own on Saturday. And then obviously what he does going forward, the other end was sublime.
There's no doubt. Right? There's no doubt. Trent Alexander-Arnold is an unbelievable footballer. I'm probably one of his biggest fans. I actually went as far as to say that he's in the world class category for me, and I got rinsed a bit for it, right? But I feel personally like he's an unbelievable footballer. But you cannot deny that defensively there's some problems. And Doku for me should have been man of the match. Him and Bernardo, I thought, were the two of the better players on the pitch. I thought they were class. LB, let's come to you. Before we do, listen, guys, there's over 250 people in here, man, and we've not hit anywhere near 100 likes yet. So make sure that we do that. We're only on 57. Come on, peeps. Mate, you're moving like the Everton Football Club at the moment. Come on. Raise the standards. Sorry, Rich in the chat. Raise the standards, man. Let's smash a like on the video, people, and subscribe to the channel. LB, Doku was man of the match for me, mate. I thought Bernardo was class. You said you were disappointed. You said you were robbed. I think the half of that was tongue in cheek. What's your real thoughts, bro? What's your real thoughts about this game, man?
I think that was the truth, man. I was disappointed, and I felt we was robbed a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's tongue in cheek.
Why do you think you were robbed? Why was you robbed?
Well, it was never a foul on Alisson. Never in a month of Sundays.
I agree. Goalkeepers get so protected. You cannot touch a goalkeeper.
What I don't get though, Dan, is right. Yeah, I think they need to have like a rule change because just give the goal, and then if the goalkeeper's on the ground, then just review it. If it's been fouled, it's been fouled. But listen, I ain't really moaning about that anyway because you know what I mean. I don't want to be one of them fan bases that do that. I'll focus on my own team. Disappointed. Should have done more really with the amount of possession that we had. You know what I mean? We had the majority of the possession, good areas of football pitch, created some chances. Probably should have created better chances. And then when we did have the chances, we didn't put the ball in the back of the net enough, obviously, other than the once. So it is what it is. Bit disappointed, really. Wanted the win. Felt that we did enough to get the win. And yeah, it's what it is. We'll take it and move. It's not like a disastrous point, but it's not a great point.
Who was your man of the match, LB?
Yeah, I probably agree with you. Either Doku or Bernardo Silva. I thought it was a joke. I honestly thought it was a joke when they give it Trent Alexander-Arnold. I just think it was ridiculous.
Well, it was. I thought it was. I can't deny that it was crazy. And I'm a big fan of Trent, and everyone knows I am. And I thought it was a quality goal. But come on, man. Like really, like for me.
Did you see one of the stats that the Sky put up on the screen? Right. You know when they try to justify why he got man of the match, and it was like goals won. Joint first, right? Okay, it's 1-1, and then the other one was crosses 4 first. None of his crosses went to a Liverpool player. They're all like just crosses and headed away. So I don't know why they're putting them on screen. Listen, I agree with what you said, Dan. I think Trent's sick, but he is not a right back, mate. He's not a good defender. His body position is all wrong. Gary Neville did a little segment on a Monday Night Football last year or a year or two ago about his body positioning. He was completely correct, man. He just stands up. He's too flat-footed, and Doku went past him with ease so many times. He was partly at fault as well for the City goal when Ake skipped round him. So how he got man of the match, I don't know. But listen, it was an interesting game. Looking at it, I'm still very confident we'll win the league. Very confident. I still think Liverpool need a little bit more, which I think me and Errol sort of agreed on before the game, and I think that was the fair conclusion. But listen, it was a decent game. wasn't a terrible game, but yeah, it just is what it is. Really, just a bit disappointed.
Well, let me just ask everybody a quick question, because I get like, I don't want to seem like I just get like me back up because it's Scouser and we're natives and all the rest of it, blah 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 blah. What does he have to do to just get a fair crack at the whip defensively? Because I've got people still telling me that Reece James is a better right back than him. May I remind you that Reece James has not played 3 consecutive Premier
If he was
League
fit,
games.
there'd be an argument, though, Errol, to be fair. If he was fit, he is class, Reece James. He is quality. He just can't stay fit.
But I think he's overrated, though, Errol. I actually think Reece James is overrated.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
No. I think he's I think he's an overrated player. Based on how little he plays, I think he's overrated.
Reece James or Trent?
Reece James. I think being fit is quite an important part of being a good footballer. Yeah, you can't just be
100%. But when he is fit, he's quality, mate.
No, I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player, but I do think he's also overrated.
I think he's better. He's better defensively than Trent. I think his delivery is phenomenal.
He's a good footballer. You can't fucking get him on the pitch, so he's shit.
No, that's a crap. That's a crap
No,
example.
it's not
Naby Keita is not a class footballer.
No, Naby Keita is a class footballer. Naby Keita has got all the tools in his locker. He's just not fit. All right, then. All right, if that's a crap one, Thiago for the last 12 months, he's been a world-class footballer, but you can't get him on the pitch.
Living at Liverpool,
yeah, but that's different, man, because he's done it for Barcelona and Bayern. Listen, Reece James is top quality. There's not much between Reece James and Trent, in my opinion. I think Trent's a better all-round footballer, but in that position, I'm probably going to pick Reece James as a right back.
So if you had to sign, so based on what they've both done into the world stage and their records now, and you had £80 million, and that 80 mil is going to buy you either of them, you're going to buy James for your team.
If I needed a footballer, I'd buy Trent Alexander-Arnold for versatility. If I needed a right back, I'd buy Reece James.
Fucking Reece James is on pip. He's getting
listen, if he stays fit, we've got an unbelievable right back. If Reece James is going to get injured for 5 years, of course I'm taking Trent. But if they're not going to get injured, and both of them, and I can only have one right back, I'll pick Reece James. I think Trent is an unbelievable footballer. I think he's wicked. I think he's unreal, generational. But as a right back, mate, I have massive question marks over him, which is why people want to put him in midfield, Errol. This is problem.
I think Trent's going to struggle with at England level as well, because
of course he never gets picked. I mean, we can't go on that. Southgate don't pick anyone, right?
No, but in knockout games, you've got to be able to defend. It's all right in a 38-game season. You're probably going to get away with it, right? It'll cost you a goal or whatever, but the amount that will make up for it at the other end is chilling. In a knockout game, Champions League, World Cup, Euros, I think he's going to struggle. Well, not Champions League, because obviously it's still play, but for England, I think he'll struggle to get in the team, because why would you go for him when you've still got other creative players, but you've got someone who's better defensively? Like Trips, like Reece James or Kyle Walker. I think Trent is
England have got a good enough squad that we should be playing on the front foot. The fact that we have to sit there and say, "Oh well, we're going to have to be defensive because it's knockout football," just goes to show how shit England are. If England had any balls to play with the actual abundance and talent that we've got, we would be a front foot team. From fullbacks to playing out. We'd have a different keep. We'd have Ramsdale in goal because he can play out from the back better than Pickford. We'd have better fullbacks in terms of obviously raiding down both flanks. We'd have at least someone who can complement. John Stones obviously is the one that can complement Harry Maguire the best, because he is the one that's the ball playing centre half. But we'd play more of a high line, and you'd have 3 midfielders, 3 8s there. All right, Rice, Bellingham, and whoever else you want there, whether that's Maddison or somebody else as the additional third in that midfield 3. And all of those should be with one thing from football going forward. You only need Rice to be your midfielder, your DM, and your destroyer. That's how England should really look to set up.
But if you did that, you'd probably go Trips, would you not? Because he's very good at delivering the ball, but he's better defensively. So
my one thing that I will always say about Trent is, I think 1v1s where a lot of people criticize him the most heavily is where I think if you actually looked at his stats and you did a deep dive into his stats and his numbers, like coming up against all the wingers he's came up against in his career so far, he actually doesn't get cooked as much as people make out. People make out that he gets cooked because they look at an eye test and you see a few clips here and there and you think, oh, we can't defend at all. The amount of games that this lad's played, he's nearly 25. The amount of games he's played since he was about 19 years of age. And he's played against some of the best level of defenders in the world, or attackers in the world, I should say. And he's more often than not, his win percentage is higher than most other defenders, and he comes out on top. If he couldn't defend,
Errol, what you think we're saying though? This is where it goes wrong with you, because you did this last year as well. You think we're dissing Trent as a footballer? That's not what we're doing.
I don't. No, I think it's specific to the defensive area. But what I'm saying is the 1v1s is what most people criticize the most. But his numbers in 1v1 situations don't have him as an awful defender. They have him above average. So I'm like, why can't we just call a spade and say he's all right? I'm not expecting to say he's a world-class defender.
Okay, answer me this. You accept that the following English players as a right back are better than him defensively: Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, Ben White, and Reece James. Do you think those four are better defensively than Trent?
No, I'll give you two.
Okay,
I'll give you Walker, and if you really want to push the boat out, I'll give you Trips. But
get lost.
I will. Bro.
Right. So you think Trent Alexander-Arnold is better defensively than Ben White?
He's better than Ben White. Well, in terms of
defensively, he's better than Ben White defensively. Are you serious?
As a defender, Ben White's a centre back as well. It's a little bit more of a difficult one.
So he's better defensively, right? I just admit that. He is better defensively than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, there's no way you're telling me Trent Alexander-Arnold is better defensively. I can admit that he's a better footballer than Ben White, but there's no way you're telling me he's a better defender than Ben White. We all know why Ben White's not in the team. He's fallen out with Southgate, right? Okay. That's the only reason. Ben White is a better defender than Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's no way I am having that.
That's a heavy bias, that Errol, to be fair.
I'm being genuinely serious when I say, because the way that everyone makes out that he's just dead in defence is just like, what's going on? Like, why? He's won a Champions League. He's won the Premier League. The lad's been involved in all of the successes.
He's an unreal player. I think he's quality.
But the thing for me is, if he couldn't defend the way people make out, he can't defend. It's like it's a flat out. He can't defend. If he couldn't defend, he would not be in that squad doing that job. Joe Gomez would have replaced him by now. We would have got somebody else.
Can't do it either.
Joe Gomez is better. He's a better defender.
Then Trent.
Ben White isn't.
So we're going to put Joe Gomez.
Got him.
We got him.
Listen, I love Trent, and I think he is ridiculously good, man. But defensively, I can't sit there and defend him much. Listen, I don't think that game has showed me much in difference to what I already knew. I knew Liverpool would be up there. I knew Man City were going to have a great chance of this title, and they're still my favourites for it. I don't think that fixture has done anything whatsoever to change minds. Does anyone think on the panel that this is going to be tighter than last season in terms of a title race, though?
Yes, 100%. And I think Liverpool will be there. I laughed at Errol. You all know this. When he put Liverpool second, as the weeks have gone on, I look at Liverpool, and I think they've just been going about their business so quietly, and they're there. And I thought, actually, take away the foul on the goalkeeper. Sorry, I think Liverpool were decent. I do. Away from home, City's a tough place to go. We all know that. I think Liverpool have really sort of put mud in my face a little bit this season, and I think they will be up there. I think it will be a 3-horse race this season. I really do.
The Alisson injury is going to be a big one. Someone just said it in the chat there. That will be a big one. It looks like
How long is he out for?
It could be anything from a couple of weeks till the end of the year. So
I've heard 5 weeks. Is that
5 weeks. Yeah, that's what they're rumoring. But
the hamstring, is it?
Yeah, hamstring. This tricky thing with that for me is, if this would have been a year ago, well, maybe not exactly a year ago because of the form Liverpool were in, but in terms of the player, Kelleher, I wouldn't have worried. If you just said Kelleher's got to be number one for a month, I'd have been like, that's fine, we can soak it up. But Kelleher, since probably the back end of last season, he's played in a couple of Europa League games. He's not looked like the standard that he established himself to have. I think by his own standards, he's probably dropped quite a bit. And I just hope that now he sees that he's obviously going to have to step it up. I hope he can step it up, because we've got some big games coming up. I know we play Arsenal. I know we play Man U. In that running, so we've got quite a few big games and fixtures due now, so that is going to be a big miss, because Alisson had a stinker, but I think Alisson's got enough credit in the bank to drop one stinker once in a blue moon. So yeah, I think, to lose a player of his caliber, that is going to have an impact, really.
Yeah, I think he's top quality. He's the best goalkeeper in the world for me, but by far you will miss him. I do rate Kelleher. I don't think he's a clown, personally.
No, I think he's good, but I just think by his own standards he's dropped a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Listen, let's move. We gotta speak. We gotta speak about Villa, man. This is getting crazy. That game was absolute chaos, Billy. I watched the first half. And I was in the troop chat thinking, I'm so disappointed by Villa. I'm really worried that this could be actually Tottenham doing Villa with no players here. Luckily, Son couldn't keep on side, and Villa turned up in the second half. Otherwise, I mean, it could have actually been 4-0 in the first half, Billy. Like, no joke. It was that scary. Entertaining stuff, though. Come on, mate.
I'm glad you thought so. No, that first half, I was just as disappointed. It was, this season, it's Villa at home seems like a completely different side to Villa away. I think I actually put it in the group chat because we play so well at home. We've got on that incredible run of 13 or however many wins it is consecutively in the league. And then we go away and we lose to Forest and we don't really turn up and whatnot. And it's disappointing, but thankfully we somehow managed to get into half time at 1-1. Douglas Luiz showing his £120 million worth and putting that ball perfectly onto Pau Torres' head. And
I will come on to that. Don't worry.
Haven't City got a buyback on him still?
No, not yet. That's long gone. But Unai Emery at halftime making the changes that he needed to make. Cash had an awful first half. Thankfully, he came off. And Diaby came off as well for Leon Bailey, who's had a fantastic impact for us this season off the bench. And he showed it again, completely turned the game around. We turned into the side that we've seen for the majority of the season. And it's the reason why we're up in fourth and we managed to turn the game around. Beautiful finish from Watkins as well. Credit where he's due. I thought aside from that goal, he had a little bit of a poor game personally. From a centre forwards perspective, in terms of staying on side, holding the ball up, I thought he was very poor. Aside from the goal, which he took wonderfully, obviously, and Tielemans as well. I'm eating my words on Yuri Tielemans. What a player he's turning out to be for us. Last three performances against Alkmaar, Fulham, and half from the second half against Spurs, he's playing brilliantly.
You know what? I'll correct you, Billy, because you ain't eating your words. You're actually bang on. Because you said to little Dan, he won't get into our first team, but I'd take him because he'd be a good squad player. That's exactly what he is.
To be fair, I did also call him shit as well earlier in the season. Yeah, I did, which is why I'm eating my words. But yeah, hopefully Tielemans can. That's him now. He's settled in. Hopefully we can push on now. And the interesting thing is how we get on in December. We've got 9 games from now until the end of December. City and Arsenal, with 3 games between them at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the month. So it's how we navigate ourselves through this month now and see where we are at the end of December, and then maybe with the January transfer window, obviously reassess and maybe look then to push on and really go for a top 4 or 5 finish. This month is so important for us now. How we play against City, how we play against Arsenal. If we manage to pick up points in those games as well, I think they're both at home. Obviously, like I just mentioned, the record at home is fantastic as well. So hopefully we can continue that form. I'm not expecting us to go on and pick up 2 wins there. Obviously, I'd be deluded to think that. But positive results, positive performances is what I'd like to see from those 2 games. And like I say, reassess at the end of the month. Hopefully, if we're still 4th or 5th, then we can reassess and say, yeah, let's go for it kind of thing. But until then, I'm not putting my chest out just yet. I'm not putting my chest out.
This is shocking, Billy, man. This is absolutely shocking. I think you actually need to get your chest out, bro. Because
I agree.
I look at Villa, yeah? I look at your squad. I look at your manager. I look at the way you play, your home record. I think that you should get your chest out because I think that you can get top 4. I think you can get top 4, bro. And the position that you're in, it is now effectively yours to lose because you're in the top 4, bro. You've got good players. I think you should back your team, back your manager, and say, you know what, this can be our top 4. I think you got to go for it, man.
I do agree with you to a certain extent. I do think that we can. I do think that it's a possibility for us. The only thing is that I would caveat that with is how we navigate ourselves through this month. Having 9 games in a month is just ridiculous. How we perform against yourselves and Arsenal, both at home, obviously, and injuries and stuff like that as well. That's part of the navigating ourselves through.
Yeah, but we all have to deal with that. Pete's got to deal with it.
No, of course.
What does this sound like from last season?
I always said we were capable of getting top 4. I just didn't think we'd do it. I genuinely didn't think we'd do it.
Well, it's probably a similar kind of thing, Pete. So, like I said, I do think that we can. I do think that we are good enough to get there with the players that we've got. Moreno and Jacob Ramsey are both back fit now. Jacob Ramsey came on against Spurs as well, obviously, for a little bit. Still yet to see Alex Moreno play first team football, but he's playing for a little bit of the 23s, so he's getting match fit again. So we've been very lucky as well with injuries. We've had those 2 big injuries that are first team players. We've had Buendia and Mings, obviously, that are season enders. But aside from that, we have been very lucky with our injuries and keeping that core. If Watkins was to get injured, I think we'd struggle a lot. If Luiz was to get injured, if Konza, Torres, Emi Martinez, if those players was to get injured, Boubacar Kamara, McGinn, we'd struggle. We really, really would struggle. And this is why I'm holding myself back from putting my chest out on the line, because if any of those players get injured, like I say, we're going to struggle big time. So
I do think we're player, by the way.
Oh, he's a fantastic player.
He don't get enough credit from me. I know Luiz we've spoken about, but that Kamara is a very good player, man.
He is, and they complement each other perfectly as well. Kamara's that number 6. He's the player that can break up the play. Luiz is the ball
if
player.
If Luiz is 120 million, what's Kamara? I mean, what's Kamara worth?
We got him on a free as well, Bouba Kamara.
Yeah, that's a great signing, man. That's a really good signing. Listen, Douglas Luiz, that was an unbelievable ball, by the way. Absolutely ridiculously class. And I've got Torres in my team, so I was happy as well as Watkins. So that's all good. But this is a wild take, Billy. 120 million for Douglas Luiz. I mean, that is an absolute
Bellingham was 120, wasn't he? So you're saying that he's better than Bellingham?
I'm saying he's as good as. No, I'm not. No. He's such an important player for us. We've got him signed down to a long-term contract. He's playing fantastic football, the football of his life. He's played a lot of football, a lot of Premier League football already. So he's an experienced lad. He's a Brazilian international. We hold all the cards in this situation. You've seen Declan Rice go for 105 million, however much it was. We've seen Caicedo go for 115 million. We hold all the cards in a January transfer window as well. If you wanted him in the summer, it's probably a little bit different. But in the January transfer window, we've got every right to demand that sort of money.
And look, you can demand it, but he's not worth 120 million.
That's the thing, Potts. Nobody's worth that sort of money. Declan Rice isn't worth 105 million. Nobody's worth this sort of money, but it's what they're worth to the club as well. I could have sworn that Lawless was probably playing this card back when Declan Rice.
Of course he was, but that's Lawless. Don't put yourself in the same bracket as him.
No, exactly. But then he'll come at me saying it's a fucking ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah, he wasn't having it, but he's not going to have it, is he? Because he hates Villa. But other than Billy, how much is Douglas Luiz worth? Go around to Pete, Dan United, and LB. What are we saying?
If we're going how much he's worth, we're probably talking 70, 80 million.
Billy, how can you go 120 and then say 70, 80? What are you doing?
Because that's how much he's worth to Villa. That's how much we should be demanding for a player like Douglas Luiz, with the importance to the team and to how he's playing. And the length of the contract as well. If we're talking about how much a player's worth, then taking that out of it.
I get why you're saying. I know you don't believe he's worth 120. I know why you're saying that figure, right? Because you want a crazy amount for him. But what can we see Luiz going for? Whether it's Arsenal or whoever, if he leaves Villa, which I think he will eventually, I don't think he's going to stay there forever. He looks like a top talent.
Depends how we get on this season, I think, as well.
Yeah, exactly. If he doesn't want to go in January, you might keep him next season if you get Champions League. Pete, Douglas Luiz, like, really? How much?
2.5 years left on his contract. 25. He's a tremendous player. I'd probably say about 65 million.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah, I'd probably go. Between 55, 65 million. I'd go.
He's
LB.
a fantastic player.
Yeah, that's probably what he's worth. If I was Villa, I wouldn't sell him for anything less than 85 million, though. If I was Villa, I wouldn't sell him for anything less than 85.
Yeah, see, I heard yesterday that 80 million is what people are speaking about now. I think that'll put us off, if I'm honest, because I think that we could get that money spent on somebody else that'd be even just as good, if not better.
Isn't it, Dan? Villa need to
100%.
start acting like a club that wants to be getting in the Champions. They can't be selling the players.
No,
They've got
totally
to say
agree.
no.
If they want to go Champions League and they go, right, Watkins can go for 100 million, and then Luiz can go, they need to just keep their players, man, and just go and get cohesion together and stop. That's what I think they need to be doing. But listen,
I was going to say, I don't think there's any issue about Douglas Luiz leaving. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll go anywhere.
This is the thing as well. I would be very, very surprised if he was to leave. I'm not saying straight up that he won't leave. I'd be very surprised to see him leave, because he said that he loves the club. He's enjoying his football playing for Aston Villa. So there's no reason really.
Fabian Delph said that, bro, and then signed for City like a week later or something.
There's no need to bring that up.
Jack
That's a low
Grealish.
blow. That's a low blow, LB.
I do think that,
when me and Billy first met, it was Jack Grealish on it. Bill, do you remember? Oh, he's not going. He's never going to go. Never going to go. I was like, I think he will. No, he won't go. And then next year he did. Listen, I think he's a tremendous player.
Good few years ago, that.
That was, man. Sorry to remind you. I think he's a good player. Do you know what? We're talking negatively, and we shouldn't be, because Aston Villa, big up to him, man. What Emery's done. I looked at the league table the other day in terms of the form, and Villa were third in it, mate, behind Arsenal and Man City. It's since 2022, I think the league table was literally come up today. They are ahead of Liverpool. It is absolutely insane. In the last year, they're actually ahead of Liverpool in the league table since Emery's been there, basically. Your form at home, Villa Park, is not making me want to go there, and I've got to go there in a couple of weeks' time. I think that's going to be a ridiculously hard game. I know you said away from home is a little bit different, but honestly, mate, I've been so impressed by Villa, and I think you can honestly, Bill, LB saying give your chest out, but you should have your chest out. But you know what? I think you can relax a little bit as well, because I honestly don't think it's, oh my God, we might not do this. I think if Villa were to come sixth this season, that's not a shambles of a season. I still think you'll win the Conference League as well. Go on, Errol.
Who are you more impressed with? Newcastle this time last season or Villa this time this season?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question.
You know yours, Bill?
Yeah, Newcastle, in my opinion. Newcastle this time last year, doing what they've done, I don't think anyone was expecting it at all. We've had a little bit of hype. I think we had a little bit more. I could be wrong.
It's very close, though.
I think we had a little bit more time with Emery last season, if you like, and we had a lot of hype going into the new season. I don't think anyone expected Newcastle to do anything near what they did last season.
To be fair, though,
how was it Newcastle a good? Were you there the December before? Was it December before last season?
We're in the top three.
Yeah. But on that, right? So last year, the same time, match day 13, Newcastle, were third, 24 points. Aston Villa are fourth, but on 28 points. So they're a position below, but they've got 4 extra points than Newcastle at the same time.
I think it's very similar, but I will go Newcastle I think it's very similar. I don't think that's Newcastle.
Why Newcastle? When Aston Villa got 4 extra points.
Because I think what Eddie Howe has done at Newcastle as a whole, no, I don't know actually, because Emery's been unreal. I think it's really tight, man. I don't know if I can call this. I think it's really tight, man. I think it's really tight.
It's close. I just wondered why.
I think maybe the football Newcastle were playing was better. Maybe just because I think Villa at times look a little bit inconsistent more. But I think in terms of the points, you can't deny it. That is unbelievable. I didn't know they were so far ahead in terms of points.
We were top of the clean sheets. We barely conceded a goal at that point. Third in the league. You could argue the points, but you could argue the defending and the attacking football was far better. But
that's so tough, though. To be fair, Pete, it's close, though. It's close, though, Pete.
And for me, they do remind me. I've said it to Billy before. They do remind me of what they're doing this season, of what we did last season. It seems like, and I said it to you, Billy, last season. I see what Villa are doing is in their year behind those. The only difference is that your starting point was from a higher point than us. We started from the bottom of the league when Eddie Howe came in. We were right bang smack bottom of the league, and our trajectory was so good. Yours is equally as good, but you had a starting position that was higher. We ended up finishing mid-table that season. Like, if we'd have started at the position you were,
I think you finished above us, didn't you?
We did, but what I'm saying is when Unai Emery took over, you were higher in the league.
Yeah.
They were higher, and what I'm saying is you ended up finishing in Europe last season. If
That's
we were
true,
starting from your position when Eddie Howe took over, we probably would have pushed for Europe too in our first season.
True, yeah.
We're literally at the same level, and you guys are probably just a year behind us, but doing exactly the same. And that's why I've got mad respect for it, because you guys are putting up. Hey, you might concede goals, you might lose matches, but you come right back and you do the same again, and you're right back at it again. And
he's the third best manager in the league, isn't he, Emery, behind Pep and Klopp?
Yeah, definitely.
I would say so.
Everyone agree with that?
I have to say so.
Of course he is. He's won.
I think everyone agree with it. Anyone not agree with that?
No, he's experienced.
I think
he's
got
experienced.
He's got the
4
talent.
Europa Leagues. I mean, 4 Europa Leagues says it all to me, man. That is great. I know that people will think I'm saying it because he managed Arsenal. You know, it's not that. I think what he's done at Villa is crazy.
Best manager after Wenger, isn't he?
Say again.
He's Arsenal's best manager after Wenger, isn't he?
Who Unai Emery?
Yeah.
Mate, I don't know, man. I'd probably go with George Graham, but you know, fair play. Listen, it's got to be moved to Newcastle next, but I do think Villa deserve all their flowers at the moment. And to be fair, after the game I saw, so did Newcastle. I will say, Pete, that I know you're depleted at the moment, but in your first team, you're probably only missing a couple of players. But your bench is complete kids, man. I can't lie. I mean, it was pretty. Yeah, your bench isn't strong at the moment. And you absolutely hammered them, man. I watched the whole of your game. As the game I chose to watch. I was quite surprised that was a 3 o'clock, to be fair, on a Saturday. But it was an unbelievable goal. Unbelievable game. And I think a few players deserve a hell of a mention, bro. I've got to say, I've been watching a lot of this Miley kid since you mentioned him and Anderson. I think you got 2 absolute stars there, mate, in the future. I've been really, really impressed by what I've seen from Newcastle, as you know. And you battered Chelsea, man. You absolutely battered them.
Yeah, we did. And it pleases me even more the fact that we did that, because everyone expected Chelsea to come up to St. James's and win. That was the talk. Everybody said it. Everybody thought that they were just going to.
Sorry, Pete. 1 second, Errol. I'll see you Friday. Big up, my guy. Thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure, man. In a bit, bro. Sorry, Pete. Go on.
No, everyone expected Chelsea to come up and win because they pulled a couple of results out, and they looked decent, but not at St. James's. People underestimate St. James's Park. They really do. And it's not an easy place to come. And no matter what the team, I mean, look, I said it to you, Potts. We had 4 goalkeepers in that matchday squad, 3 of them on the bench, 3 goalkeepers on the bench, 3 academy players that got their debut, 4 if you include Miley, who just turned 17 years old, and pocketed Enzo Fernandez again, because he did it when he came on a sub at the back end of last season to make his Premier League debut for the club. And yeah, we rock on. Look, you talked about Emery, and I fully get that, but flowers have got to be given to Eddie Howe as well. He's navigating himself through the season really well, considering the injuries, considering the difficulties that we've had. It's not all perfect. We've had some poor results, poor defeats, but we're still in there. We're talking about Villa. We're 5 points behind, and we've had some difficult games, but we're still there. And I was so impressed with the performance. Miley, you've talked about, but Bruno Guimaraes, wow, that guy ran the midfield on Saturday. He was outstanding again. Really picked up his form. Anthony Gordon. Yeah, everyone talking about Cole Palmer after the Man City game. I'm sorry, Anthony Gordon's outperformed him this season easily. He's been playing better football, better influence on the team.
Quality, man. He's
been
quality.
Unbelievable. And I know.
You know what, Pete? Just quickly, you mentioned Bruno Joelinton and Lewis. What's his name? Miley.
Yeah.
£300 million midfield Chelsea got. Caicedo, Enzo, and obviously Conor Gallagher, they rate it for like 50 million or whatever it is. mate, I was so impressed, man. 17-year-old kid, brilliant assist for Isak. Big fan of youngsters coming onto the scene. And sometimes, when you hear names and you think, oh, bless him, they're overhyping him because he's one from the academy that, finally they've got through. I looked at everything about him because, I've heard, I always look. I never, ever would have looked at Lewis Miley. And other than speaking to yourself and other Newcastle fans, I was so impressed, man. So impressed.
Mate, he just turned 17 years old. He's 6'3", right? Big, tall, strapping lad. He's got a good pass on him, good way to pass. The assist for Isak. He did every single one of those Chelsea players. Everyone expected that ball to go out wide. He just reversed it right into Isak's feet. Even Isak was surprised to get the ball. He even said in his interview afterwards, he didn't expect a ball of that quality coming from Miley. And it was just unbelievable. And it's not just that. It's his aggressive play, his press, his high press, his intensity. At 17 years old, he is quality. But we need to be patient with him. We're not just going to throw him into the lines then. We have to at the moment because we've got injuries. This is the thing. We got Isak back on Saturday. We're like, yes, finally, we've got a striker in the team. But on the same day, we lose Willock. Willock's now out until the beginning of next year. He's done his Achilles again. So when we get one player back, which is all we had for that game, we lose a player. So we're still not any better than what we were beforehand. And we just need some of these big players back. We need Longstaff because he's such an important player to what we do. We need the likes of Sven Botman we haven't had for 10 weeks. He was our best centre-back last season. Jamal Lascelles scored another goal. He's been sensational since he stepped into the team. So we are running on scraps at the moment, but we're still getting the results. We're still up there. Like I said, we're 5 points behind Villa. We're still up there. What was it? 7 points off the top. For a Newcastle team that's been depleted, massively depleted. I keep saying it. Get our team back together, and with some additions in January, we can attack the season. No doubt about it.
I've been impressed, man, and I do have you favourites for the top four. I think at this moment it's looking like Villa and Newcastle might get that fourth spot or fifth spot ahead of the Spurs if they carry on with their depletion. But listen, really, really impressed by it, mate. And I must say, Livramento, talk about fullbacks at the moment on fire. This guy looks ridiculous. He came on against Arsenal and I thought he pocketed Saka and Martinelli. But to be fair, both were pocketed. I've been a big fan of Newcastle defensively since Eddie Howe's come in. But this is just another player you've got, with Livramento and Lewis Hall. That's your backup to Trippier and Dan Burn, whether they're injured, So you've actually got some backup now. I do think in January you'll sign players. I think there's talk of Calvin Phillips. Was that right, that you're going for? I don't know if LB believes that you'll sell Calvin Phillips in January. I've no idea, LB. Do you think that'd be a signing? Do you think that'd be a signing, LB? Will he go Newcastle?
I think he'd go Newcastle. I think City would let him go Newcastle. Whether Newcastle want him. I don't know if they would want him.
Sure. Is it a position you need there, Pete? Do you reckon?
Yeah, we'll want another centre midfielder. We won't buy him though. We'd loan him. I've been convinced that if we're to spend money in January, it'll be on centre back.
Okay.
We'll bring another centre back in. As well as that, we'll want a centre midfielder, and as well as that, I think we'll get another forward. I'm not sure if it'll be a striker or it'll be someone that can play off the right as well as up front. A bit of a versatile forward. I think they're the three areas that we're looking at, and we'll strengthen. But you just mentioned Tino Livramento. He's been a revelation since coming to the team. For me, and for a lot of us, we talked after the game like that. Dan Burn hasn't got a chance of getting back in if Livramento keeps playing like that. Like again, we talked about Trent Alexander not being great defensively. This guy can defend. He can also get forward as well. He's not as good technically as the likes of Trent, but I tell you what, the boy can defend first and foremost, which is what you should always be as a fullback. A fullback should be able to defend, and this boy can. And he did the same again. And I've just been so impressed with him. 32 million well spent. Pocket change.
I can't deny that. I can't deny that at all. Come on in, question. Come to Billy and Pete last. LB, who's finishing higher in the table, Newcastle or Villa?
I think you're probably right. I think these are two favourites for the Champions League spot. They look like the two best teams for me. But I've got to give it Villa at the moment, just because they're in there. they're in there at the moment. You know, it's theirs to lose. You know, that's a fact.
Mm.
You know, they're
Yeah.
above Newcastle. I think they've got a decent squad. I think they can maintain it. And if they get a couple of players in January, then why not? They're there right now, so I'm going to give it to them. It's theirs to lose, man.
It's so tight because both teams are so good at home. St James's Park and Villa Park, two of the hardest places to go, man. I'm going to stick with Newcastle because I like to stick with what I don't like to change it up too much. I think Villa will be fine this season. I really do. And I've already tipped them to get silverware. But I do think Newcastle. Dan, what are you saying, bruv?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Newcastle. I do. I just think players coming back, and I think the players that they'll probably bring in the January transfer window. Like Pete said, we can all laugh about it, but the job that Howe's done this season with the injuries they've had, United have been on the end of a dismantling with their B/C side. So I'm not saying by any means that Villa are anywhere out of it, but I think it will be tight. But I do fancy Newcastle to get top four, definitely.
No, I do as well, man. Billy, what are you saying?
I can see reasons for both sides, but I've got to back Villa. The position that we're in at the minute, Moreno and Ramsey coming back as well. That's only going to boost us. It's just a case of keeping these players fit and staying lucky in terms of injuries. So at the minute, I'm going to have to back my boys.
Pete, I guess you're going to back your team.
110%.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough, mate. I think it'll be close, and I'm looking forward to it. I think this will be this literally is going to be so tight this year.
Do we all agree that them two are the most favourites? Or, Dan, do you think United are in that all that what? Because for me, I genuinely think Aston Villa and Newcastle should be the favourites for the top four, not United or Spurs.
I mean, let's move to United. Let's move to United, Dan. We'll talk about Garnacho in a minute, but do you think United have got a chance now? Because a lot of people are like slagging you off. Oh my God, they're shambles. This is a disgrace. You ain't far off, and you're 6 points off the title. It's not. I know that you're not going to win the title. I get that. I'm not meaning that, but I'm just saying you're still in the pack.
Yeah, of course we are. And I think something we need to remember here as well is worst start to a season. You know, our team has been depleted. We can all agree with that. We've missed a lot of players this season. It was so good to see Luke Shaw back on the left this weekend. Of course, we're in with a shout. There's four or five teams in with a shout, but I think consistently across the season, I would put my money on Everton, on a Villa or a Newcastle. It all depends on what United do in January. There's been a lot of talk about what we're going to do. There's players going to be going, meaning the wage bill's going to go down. I do think we'll bring players in, so we'll have to wait and see. You know, like I've said every week, and the graphic showed on Sunday, and it answered my point. Manchester United, won 5 of their last 6, but then look at the teams they've played in that. The one defeat was Manchester City. United have played 4 teams above them this season, not got a point off them. Teams blown, we've won. We've won. That's where most of our wins have come from. I will say this though, you've got to be in. You've got to be in with a shout, and you've got to keep yourself in there. And at the moment, by hook or by crook, United are in there. You can't say they aren't. That they've got the points to allow us to be up there. I mean, obviously, the next couple of games are going to be massive for Manchester United. I think we're away, aren't we, at yours on Saturday, Pete?
Yeah,
that's a massive game. And you know something? If you were to tell me now, if you were to offer me a 1-1 draw now, I'd take it. I'd snap your hands off. Newcastle are a different beast to Everton. I mean, there was this talk about going to Everton, and I was worried about going to Everton because it was the first game back since 10-point deduction. The crowd were going to be, really pumped for it. 150 seconds later, they were deflated, weren't they? That goal just absolutely took the wind out of everyone. Do you know what? I'm very fortunate as a Man United fan to say I've seen great goals by Manchester United players, but that goal, I was speechless. The way that the fact that he's had to run back to do this overhead kick, it was just sensational. At the age this kid is as well, he is a talent. There's no denying that. The boy has got a lot of ability, and he's got a lot of potential. He backs himself. You can see that. You wouldn't see many players go for that sort of goal, in their late 20s, early 30s. This is what players who have that belief about who they're going to be, what they are, can do. But I tell you what, we talk about this conversation that Trent got man of the match. Garnacho shouldn't have got man of the match. I thought Kobe Mainoo was absolutely incredible.
Class, mate.
Played far beyond his years. I watched him picking the ball up in that 6 role and doing what we were hoping Casemiro could do this season. There was nothing out of line in his game. His stats throughout the game: first in pass accuracy, first in tackles made, successful dribbles. The kid looked like he'd been playing Premier League football for the last 10 years. So that was a massive, massive positive. But then you have to go back to the first half. If any of you watched it, Everton should have got 2 or 3. If Everton could have finished in that game, we'd be talking a complete different result here. I thought going into the second half, the penalty completely kicked it out of them, and we then went on, and we were quite comfortable then. But make no mistake, the first half, they were all over us. They were absolutely.
They had their shooting boots on.
Exactly that. So yeah, it was a 3-0 win, but it was a weird 3-0 win. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have another clean sheet. That's another clean sheet for Onana, which will do his confidence the world of good. Thought he made a good couple of saves as well. But yeah, I think it was just more positive for me to be able to get the 3 points. I mean, to be sat here saying that we're 6 points off the top, considering the start of the season we've had, is just, it's ridiculous. It's not right. And this is where I go back to, and I get laughed at for saying it. The fixtures, the run of fixtures, it's false hope for Manchester United fans, because we've got big games coming up. We've got games where this is where we're going to be looked at. Beating Luton, beating Sheffield United, beating Everton. Well, you should be beating those teams if you want to be going for Champions League. So it's more. I'm more interested in what we're going to do the next 2 or 3 weeks. That's where we're going to see if this Manchester United team are united to grind these results out. I still think there's a lot going on in the background. There's talks coming out now that Varane and Ten Hag, that relationship is completely dead. It's done because of dropping him for Evans in the Manchester derby. So I said this a couple of weeks ago, if you remember. I fully expect Varane.
I never thought that sound. I'm laughing because I never thought that sentence would ever leave your lips. Dropping Evans for Varane. Sorry, dropping Varane for Evans, should I say? There you go.
For Sir Jonathan Evans. Come on, let's.
Sorry, Jonathan Evans.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. We need to see what Manchester United do in January. The Sir Jim money's going to come in. He's going to want to make signings in January because he's just bought that much of the club. He's got to
make an impact, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go. But I do think one thing I will say about yesterday was I was really chuffed with Fernandes. Really chuffed with Fernandes giving the ball to Rashford. Rashford, who is so out of form this season. I've been one of Fernandez's biggest critics, but I think that is what a captain does. Gives the ball and says, right, you put that in the back of the net. This is your time now. So we'll have to see. Like I said, there are positives. Players are coming back. But for me, yesterday, just Kobe Mainoo, absolutely incredible. And I watched
he was your best player, in my opinion.
I watched him against Villa last season in the Carabao Cup, and he played in that game, and he looked good then. But I just hope we don't do what we do with a lot of players at Manchester United, and that's the fans put too much pressure on them. He needs to be able to grow, this lad. He needs to be able to come in, and he needs to be able to make mistakes and people not get on his back. But as we all know, with Manchester United fans, we see a player like this and we think they're the second coming. So we'll have to see what happens.
Listen, before I come to Arsenal, we've got to talk a couple of things. I'm going to go around. Where are Manchester United finishing this year is my question. Billy, we'll start with yourself, mate. What are you going to go with?
I don't know. Because it's... Hang on, let me get the table up quickly. Where are we? I need to think about this one because it's... Dan's just gone over there that they've had a good run of form recently in terms of results, but are they still? They're not that team, are they? Then they shouldn't really be there going from the eye test. And I do think as soon as you come up against bigger and better teams, you will probably start to get beaten. So I still think they're going to struggle for Champions League. I think, to be honest with you, I think that's probably a little bit out of the question. Europa League and Conference League is probably where they're going to be trying to aim for.
How the tables are turned listening to a Villa fan saying this to you.
It just depends now, though, I suppose, how Rashford kicks on. Is that goal going to give him a second wind? And is he going to go on and score a few goals and start performing like we saw him in that little purple patch a bit last season? How's Martial going to react from his goal? There's so many ifs and buts, but I'm going to say about 7th. I'm still not overly enamoured by them.
I'm the same. I think it'll be 6th or 7th for United. I really do. I think just like Villa and Newcastle, Spurs are still there. Whether they get their players back is another question. I don't think it's crazy to suggest that Man United will come 6th or 7th this year. Still, I don't think that is. I don't think that is.
You mentioned as well, if Everton had their scoring boots on, then it could have been a completely different story that we were saying. So, I think about 7th. To be honest with you, I'm really not overly enamoured by them. But like I say, it just depends now how you react to that win. Everyone was expecting, myself included, this could be a little bit of a banana skin for United with everything that's happened with Everton and stuff like that. Fair play, the Garnacho goal kind of shut everyone up a little bit, but it just depends how you react from here on out now, and can you get the results against and performances against the bigger and the better clubs? That's what we're going to have to wait and see, I think.
Anyone put United higher than 6th? Dan?
6th, yeah, 6th. No, 6th. I thought. Sorry, 6th is where I'd go. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. Sorry, I thought you meant 6th.
Higher than 6th, I said.
Right,
I think 6th, 7th is probably fair. I don't think they'll get any higher than that personally, because I just think Villa, Newcastle, even Spurs, when they get players back, I think Arsenal, Liverpool, and City are all sorted. I don't know, man. I think that's fair, man. I think
I don't know what this Luzili's saying in the chat. Martial gets yellowed and United gets it was a blatant penalty. I don't.
Yeah, that was a penalty.
I don't know where people. I've seen this. A couple of people saying it was.
Ashley Young was going mental as well. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, what's going on here? That was blatant. Like, he's an experienced defender, man. You can't do that. The minute you stick a leg out, man, it's not for me, man. Not for me. Crazy. Okay, LB, where does that Garnacho goal stand for you in terms of all time? Is that up there right with the greats?
Yeah, of course it is, man. It was a pretty good goal, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And it relegates Rooney's to 2nd best ever. So then United can start, showing the Garnacho one instead of showing the Rooney one. So that's great news. We don't have to watch that Rooney shin. You know what I mean? We don't have to see that anymore. They can see the Garnacho one. Yeah, it was good.
The Rooney shin.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The Garnacho one, it was class. I did a watch along, man, and I was just stunned, bro. I was just like, oh my god, what have I just witnessed? But it was up there. Very, very, very good. Very good.
I'll put it up there, one of the best. I must say, we've seen some great ones, haven't we? The Canio scissor kick's probably one of the best I've seen. I thought that was ridiculous. I thought that Eric Cantona, Dennis Bergkamp, they've got goals around Thierry Henry's. I think in terms of a strike, that or like an overhead kick, I think it's probably the best, man. I thought Rooney's was. I've got to say, that's unbelievable what he's done there.
Rooney's was never the best, bro. Like, Ronaldo's was better than that.
You're going to say that, LB.
What?
You're going to say that.
Ronaldo's against Juventus was better. 100%.
No, that was in the Juventus. We're talking about the Premier League goals, though, right?
Talking Prem.
Oh, you're talking Prem only?
Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about all-time goals. Christ. I'm just talking about Premier League all-time. Yeah, I'm not talking about like Real Madrid leagues and Champions League goals and all that. I'm just saying Premier League goals, I can't think of many that are better than that. That's what I'm getting at.
It was up there. It was up there, man.
It's got to be up there, man. It's got to be up there. Andy Carroll scored a quality one once, bro. Lawless, I must admit, he scored a quality overhead once.
That was a scissor, wasn't it?
Against Palace.
That was class.
Where's the?
Yeah. Listen, Palace get a lot of bangers scored against them. I'm surprised that Garnacho one weren't against them. The amount of scorpion kicks and overhead kicks and all sorts.
Yeah, man, that was up there. Giroud's scorpion kick. Wow, that was a mad. Was that a game? I can't believe that. Jesus Christ, crazy. Anyway, let's move to say again, Pete.
I was saying Mkhitaryan did the scorpion kick the week before.
He did it before, yeah. He did it literally the game before. Yeah, it was a week. Crazy, wasn't it? You don't normally get that, man. Listen, let's talk about two teams that left it very bloody late. One of them was my team. The other one was Lawless's team. Let's talk about these two now. 60 million down the drain, Kai Havertz scores again. I can finally sing that song now. Jesus. Only taken until December for me to actually sing it at a Wolves game. Listen, I said for a long time that I thought Kai Havertz should be coming on in that position and causing a nuisance. It's the only thing I felt he was good for. I didn't understand why we were persisting with playing him at a number 8. He came on and did the job. I thought it was a bit of a scrappy game, if I'm honest. As far as Arsenal were concerned, it weren't great. Again, we were double teamed up on Saka and Martinelli. And once teams do that, it seems we've got no answer. So it's quite easy to play against us, I think, at the moment. But we sit top of the league, man. I don't know how many more times I can big up Saliba and Declan Rice, but I'm going to do it again. And Gabriel, all three of them are just unbelievable what we're seeing at the moment. Consistency is just crazy. But it was another assist by the terrible, useless, no good Bukayo Saka, who's hopeless and can't do anything. Yet another assist. I think that is just mad. His numbers are absolutely crazy. But he's no good. He's rubbish, apparently. Again, not a great game. Another assist. Great goal, great cross, great header, and Arsenal sit top of the league. LB, are you worried?
Nah.
I tried.
I just genuinely not. I was more scared of Arsenal last year. The way you played last year, I thought was better. Every time the ball went to Saka and Martinelli and Odegaard last year, you thought it was going to be a goal. I think you guys get out of ideas when you get the ball forward. I don't buy this whole control thing. I don't believe in it. I think it's a lot of nonsense. I think you're scraping through at the moment. Yes, obviously you can get better as the season goes on. That's an obvious statement to make. But at this moment in time, I just don't see it, man. I do not see this Arsenal team having what it takes to win this league. They're playing the way they are. I just don't think it's sustainable, man. I think you're scraping wins, and I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it at all.
Listen, I wish I disagreed with you, but I actually agree with most of what you're saying. Lawless, any thoughts on that? Kai Havertz, your favourite player. He scored again. It's a good song. You've already sung it on this channel once. You can sing it properly now.
Yeah, well, he's actually scored again. He scored again, like you said. Only took till December, but now all of a sudden, as you know, it's typical with Arsenal fans. Oh, Havertz, he's finally come alive for us. He's proving his doubters wrong. You know, it's like, come on, man. Like, let's just relax yourselves. Like, the guy is still a shit signing. I'm sorry, you're not paying 65 million for a goal like every 4 or 5 months or whatever it is. So, and like I said, one of them was a pity penalty that they gave him, like, because he weren't scoring. Oh, go on, you take the penalty, Havertz, get your confidence up. And it's his confidence, like Billy was saying about Rashford. Oh, you get that goal, your confidence gets up and you go on a run. And is this now? He's going to get the confidence, and maybe it will only take him 2 months to get his next goal. So yeah, I'm not having Havertz at all. But yeah, I'm not having Arsenal as favourites for the league. Like I said, you finally touch first, and it's all of a sudden, oh yes, now we've won the league in November. Behave.
We're still finishing 4th, and Tottenham are coming 3rd, though. Yeah.
Well, listen. You can't put injuries on me, right? You can't sit there and turn around and say that my prediction is ridiculous with the injuries that Spurs have. Without the injuries that Spurs
could have been a little bit more realistic and actually predicted that they might get a few injuries, though. We've only like about 13 players that they got. But yeah, okay, fair enough.
No, but come on, to miss, you know, their centre-back pairing and Maddison and Basuma, all them players at the same time, it's pretty damning, I think. It's pretty... You look at the back line they're having to put out, you know, and for the length of period that they're missing them. But, you know, I know we're not talking about Spurs, but I think Postecoglou needs to... And listen, I'm not worried about it. Listen, I'm not crying for them. But yeah, Ange has to take a bit of stick, because you've got to grind out results and not just go gung-ho when you're running on fumes. But yeah, look, you obviously think you're going to win the league. Yeah, your fans think you're going to win the league.
No, I don't.
Right, you think you're going to finish second, don't you?
I think we'll finish second. Yeah, I think it'll be very, very close between Arsenal and Liverpool. I think City are too good still, and I've not been amazed or oh my god, Mac and City, look at them, they're stunning, they're running away with it yet. But I know that when it gets to the new year, win. We know what they do. February to April, May, they don't lose. So I expect the same thing. I don't think they've been wow this season. I don't think they have. I think I was more scared of the Man City that I've seen in the last few. I think this season so far, I'm not looking at them going, yeah, I don't see anybody beating them. I've seen them drop points so far, but I think they're top, man. And they're giving me no evidence to realise.
It is for me.
Change my mind.
From my point of view on Arsenal, right? He's obviously gone for this like control thing, more defensive play. Yeah. I think he's massively overreacted to what happened at the end of last season, right?
Yeah,
last season, your weapons were getting a ball forward, creating chances, scoring goals. I've already said, every time you went forward, you thought Arsenal were going to score. The reason, in my personal opinion, the reason Arsenal didn't win the league last year wasn't because of their defence. It was because they bottled it. They just simply didn't have the mentality. They couldn't handle the pressure. Right? I'm not saying that to like murk you. That's just my honest view. He was 2-0 up against West Ham. And then you could see the Arsenal players on the pitch against West Ham, Dan. You can admit this. They didn't know what to do. They sat back, they invited pressure up. Why? Because they were nervous. They got 2-0 up. They were 2-0 up against Liverpool, and they didn't want to throw it away again. By doing that, they messed it up. They then got a penalty. Big moment, big pressure moment. Missed a penalty. That's mentality. That's pressure. Conceding 3 at home to Southampton, that's not because your defence is poor. That's because you just bottled it again. Your heads had gone. So, for me, I think he's massively overreacted here to what went on last season. I think bringing Declan Rice would have helped a lot with what happened last year with the bottle. Adding an extra couple of experienced players would have helped. And I think you just carried on playing the way that you played last year with more experience, with that last year under your belt, and you go, he's completely changed the system, and I just don't think that was the way to go. Now, time will tell who's right, but from my point of view, I just think he's massively overreacted. I think he should have stick to the plan of what he did last year, going forward, killing teams off, adding Declan Rice into that midfield and adding maybe one of extra 2 players, two or 3 extra players with a bit more experience, I think he would have been fine. I just don't think he's gone about it the right way. Well, obviously, like I say, time will tell who's right on this, but I just do not think the way you're playing is sustainable. And if you're into your stats and that expected goals, expected points, you're not into that. Well, the data also backs that up, but I know a lot of people don't really care about that. But if you do, it does back.
I look at league positions and points, mate. I don't look at XG and crap like that. I just look at where we're at, and I'm with you. I don't think that we needed to go this extreme. Does anyone disagree with that on the panel? Does anyone think Arsenal got a chance to win the league playing like this?
I think they have. I look at the table now. The table doesn't. I know table isn't done in November, but it's not so long ago we were saying that Spurs were fucking title contenders. I think the other thing for me, Arsenal have got players coming back as well. How long's Timber's not far out, is he now? I know he started training.
New Year. Yeah, New Year party as well.
Massive. That's going to be massive for Arsenal. So, I mean, I don't know if there's any money in the bank.
In the Prem, Dan. That's a bit presumptuous. Like, you're saying it's going to be massive. We don't know if it's going to be massive. Like, the guy's still got to come. He's going to have to catch up to speed with not playing for so long.
He was quality, though, Lord. He was our best player.
You can only go off what you've seen.
It's pre-season, but it's pre-season. Like, I'm sorry, the amount of fucking players that I've seen pull up trees in pre-season and then go to shit, it's pre-season. Like, let's not act like it's it's definitely gonna be a game changer. Like, we'll see, innit?
You say that, mate, but at the same time, we saw Manchester City this week put 8 players on the bench. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that can go wrong this season. I think it'd be foolish to say Arsenal can't be in and around there. I think they will be in and around there, but I'm not saying it's. There's 3, like I said before. I think there'll be 3 this season. I think it's between Liverpool, City, and Arsenal. There's a lot to go by, isn't there?
Just remember that Lawless was bigging up Aguerd before he kicked a ball at West Ham. Just wanted to remind you.
But I didn't sit there. Whoa. I big him up as like a good sign, like potentially a good signing. The same way I didn't say, don't say, you're happy with the Timber signing. I wanted, you was all hyping up all these other signings at the time, and I was just saying, where's the love for Aguerd? Why are you not talking about Aguerd and you're talking about all these
Saliba?
other signings?
I talked about Saliba at the time. He was 12 games in and was immense, and you were trying to tell me that Aguerd was higher rated than him in France.
Don't change history like that. Unless you got the receipts, yeah. Don't change.
I have on Matisse channel. I'll go back.
You can't just say on Matisse channel. Who's going to have the time to
London
go back?
Club's Carnage, mate. It's one of the first games of last season. You was like, this Aguerd. I think he's going to be top. Just give it time on Saliba, because this Aguerd, he needs time as well. He's going to be brilliant. And I was like, no, I haven't even cared.
You said Saliba was the best defender in Europe under the age of 25. That's what you said. And I said, whoa, slow.
I was correct.
You're wrong. What do you mean you was correct? Just
I was
the
correct.
Best... No.
Name me someone better than him at 21. I'll wait.
Oh, sorry. You put me on the spot. I'm not sitting here going out and going, oh.
Well, no, I'll give you a few minutes if you want. You've got Google in front of you. You've got Wikipedia. Go and search.
We'll come back to that later. No, right. So everyone agrees with that. Everyone's like, yep, best in the world, Saliba. Everyone agrees with that.
I don't agree with it.
Well, there you go.
He's good.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to disagree with it.
The question isn't if he's up there. The question is if he is.
You're best. Such a twat.
It's like completely different.
Up there.
You're an accent, man, I tell you.
Is he the best in the world or not? That's the question. And, if he is the best...
His age category is the best in the world. He's not the best defender in the world, but his age category is.
With all these best players in the world that Arsenal's got, it's amazing that you're not walking this league this season.
Oh, my God. Where's that come from? Where has he just pulled that out of the bag from? Who has sat there and said that? This is what I mean with him. He hears what he wants to hear and just throws a load of crap at you. Like, it's just nothing what I said whatsoever. Arsenal got all these world-class players. When have I said that?
Yeah, you have. Oh, yeah, look, Saliba and Rice and Saka and Martinelli, Odegaard, blah, blah, all of this,
Top
right?
class, mate. They're not world-class. Top class players.
No, you've hyped them up to the moon.
They get into your team, mate. They'd absolutely walk into West Ham. Or they're not going to get ahead of, like...
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't walk into West Ham because they got
West Ham, longest unbeaten run in Europe. Definitely not.
No, they got a contract. We walk around.
I suppose Saliba won't get ahead of Aguerd if he's beating him in the French stats of 2 years ago, whatever. I suppose he's not going to get in that team, is he? Anyway, talk about your last minute. Talk about your last minute like hoof from Souček anyway to win your game against Burnley. It was shocking.
Is that Souček that has more goals than Havertz this season? That's Souček.
He probably has, but that's not much of a hardship by the looks of it, mate. I think I probably would have more. West Ham, I mean, are you boys in or out yet? I mean, it wasn't a very convincing win against Burnley, who've got to be one of the worst teams I've seen in the league so far.
Oh, but listen, apparently, when you win unconvincingly, it's a good thing, right? It's a sign of a good team. Wasn't that right, Pete? Wasn't that right? That when you win and you scrape those wins and you get results when you're playing poor, it's a good thing. So surely, like now, we're scraping these wins. We don't want to be dominant because then, that'd be a sign for concern. Scraping the wins, we're all good. So everyone hype up our
Where are you plucking these things out from?
It's what I've heard week in, week out. It's what I've heard week in, week out from Arsenal. Every time they have a shit performance and they get a result, it's a good thing.
Obsessed with our club. You're absolutely obsessed with Arsenal. Rent-free in your head.
Why is it?
Why we nicked your captain. Get over it. Get over the fact we nicked your captain. He's with us now. Just get on with the Thomas Souček in the middle. Apparently, you're better without him. So just get on. You've won your last-minute goal. Toby's got a question for you. You're 9th in the league, 3 points off top 7, top of your Europa League group, in a cup quarter-final. Why is everyone so negative about us? Moyes in.
Because of lawless.
You're putting
Big up Toby, by the way. Big up Toby. Love for Toby, man.
But at the end of the day, it was painful to watch. It was one of the most boring games I've ever watched in my life. It was agonizing. So it's hard to be positive when you're just not having a good time watching the team now. To win in that fashion is always feels good. It's a bit of euphoria, but you've got to sit there and watch it and go, like this ain't good. Like to see the team get the ball, pass it round the back, pass it, to one of the full-backs, and then pass it backwards to the defender, then pass it back to the keeper, then to the other defender, and just that all the time. Bit from midfield to defense. That's all it is. Because you're playing Danny Ings up top for a start, who has no presence at all. Send him back to Villa, if you ask me. Awful signing. You love him.
I love Danny Ings.
Take him back.
Not saying I wanted him back. I'm just saying
let him come and join the title charge at Villa. Let him join the title charge at Villa.
He is finished.
You said it.
You need to play on Bama now, whatever his name is. Mabama. He scored, didn't he?
Mabama, come on. instant impact. That's what you're doing. So Moyes, like I said, why is he playing Ings? He's got to take criticism for this. People go, "Oh, his game management won us the game." Well, his game management wouldn't have had to have won us the game if the starting lineup weren't so ridiculous by putting this guy that has no goals in 13 games.
Waffle.
What? What's
he
waffle?
Won the game, man.
What do you mean?
Well, you're talking about like in-game tactics and that, Moyes. You won the game.
Yeah, but so wait a minute. We did win the game, and that's all good. It's all fine and dandy. Yeah, that's all gravy. But when you put a starting lineup out with basically 10 players, right? You filled 10 players on the pitch. You're telling me you can't get criticism. You just get praise for changing the game. This is Burnley. They've lost every single game at home this season, and we're supposed to sit there and go,
lost again.
What? Yeah, they did.
Lost again.
Because he finally done and put the team out that he should have started. And so if he would have started with that team, chances are we probably would have been more comfortable. We would have created more. We'd have had more movement up top, more of a presence up top. So I'm not going to sit there and just say Moyes gets all the credit. Of course, he has to get some credit because eventually he did get over the line. But time and time again...
You don't give him credit, though. You don't ever give him credit. I've never, ever heard you give him credit on the channel, ever. I don't think you ever have.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Lies! This is lies for Europe. That's what this show should be called. You're lying. Constantly. I've given Moyes credit, yeah? But at the same time, the amount of times we're conceding goals or penalties early on in the second half shows you, like, what is this guy doing in his half-time talks? What is he going to say to the players? Like, yeah, just conserve your energy, in the second half, don't change anything. And then we go out and we concede a goal. And I said this when I was on the watch-along. We're going to need to score. We're going to need to concede for us to start playing. And that's what happened. And that was a godsend, that penalty.
Well, maybe you should thank Kudus because he gave away a penalty and then he was the best player on the pitch.
He knew what he was doing with that, giving away that penalty. He knew it. He was like, listen, these pricks ain't going to fucking, pull their finger out unless we concede a goal. Right, penalty. You know what I mean? And then, lo and behold, that won us the game. You know what I mean? And he got 2 assists. So.
Lawless, you're in a good position now, though, isn't it? Like, you must be pretty buzzing with where you are.
Yeah, it's good. Like, but fine margins. That was because if we'd have lost that game, I would have said, "Nah, we're not in any European race conversation." But we won it, and now all of a sudden we're looking at playing Palace and then Spurs, who are depleted Spurs, right? Depleted Palace and depleted Spurs. Then that could be 6 points from our next 2. That's boosting us up. So yeah, we're looking good, and we got Bowen to come back as well.
You got 4. I'm looking at your records. You got 4 wins in 5. That's really good. You've got FKTSC in the Europa League, so you should be making that 5 out of 6. You got Palace, Tottenham, and Fulham. They're all winnable games at this moment in time. I think there's reason for optimism at West Ham United right now. I think they're in good form. You got winnable games coming up. And it could be a very Merry Christmas for you, Lawless. I genuinely believe that. I think you just need to focus a little bit more on the results than the journey of how you got the results. I genuinely think that, bro. You're in good form, man. 4 wins out of 5 is very good.
I'm cautiously optimistic. But I listen.
Basically qualified for the Europa League next rounds, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, yes, we got them. So
they've got to be FKT, whoever they are next. I don't know. That might be quite hard.
Alphabet FC.
Freiburg. Listen, don't you pipe up, conference. Yeah. About Alphabet FC. About conference over there. You worry about whoever you've got. You worry about Alphabet FC. You worry about Dildo FC.
Beating them twice, mate.
Hey?
Beating Alphabet FC twice.
How did you get on against Legia Warsaw?
We've got them on Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, bogey team. But at the end of the day, I'm not moving on from West Ham until Pete comes out here and says how great it was that we scraped the win over Burnley, and it's a sign of how good we are because we scraped that win.
Lawless.
He says it every week about Arsenal. Every week we put it on and we're like, it's not convincing. He's like, no, but when you're playing crap and you're picking up results, it's good. It's a good thing. He says it every time. Now I want to hear that about West Ham because we did it against Forest. Now we've done it against Burnley. We're looking good, man, isn't it? This is the way to do it.
If you're not going to talk good about your own club, I ain't going to do it. you're pissed off the fact you scraped the win. So why am I going to tell you it's a good thing?
Well, that's what I have to hear from you every week. How great it is that Arsenal are just playing shit and getting results. And to me, I don't think it's a sign of a good. That's such a cliche when people say it's a sign of a good team when you can play bad and pick up results. No, that's a sign of a lucky team because you're playing shit and you're picking up results. Luck has to be involved in
Although
that.
people say you make your own luck in this game, Lawless. That's what that is the saying.
Well, you can make your own luck, but at the same time, luck is luck. Like something's got to drop for you. Something's got to be there. You know what I mean? And for us to even have gone 1-0 down against Burnley and to look as shaky as it was and to have to get it that late, like I said, it's worrying. So hopefully, Bowen's back, and yeah, man, we just
already. Was there enough?
Back for the Palace game. That's going to be, mate.
Flawless.
We could
Flawless. What does Moyes do then? So Antonio's out, I assume, for the Palace game as well. Does he stick with Ings? Does he play Bowen up front? Does he play that Obama?
Does he?
What does he do? I'm asking you. What does he do?
No, do you know what he does? He rips up Ings's contract and says, "Never darken my doorstep ever again." That's what he does. He does not stick with Danny Ings. Like Bowen can come back in, and you can play Bowen, Kudus, and Paqueta potentially as a front three. He's obviously liking Paqueta on the left, but yeah, like Bowen has to come through. So Bowen will probably play up top, and then Mubama has to be the guy to come off the bench. But yeah, Kudus, I have to say,
you need a striker. Bro. I told you this. You need a striker. That's why I never put you 9th, 7th, 8th, 6th, whatever you wanted me to put you, because you ain't got a striker. Danny Ings ain't good enough. Antonio's not good enough. If you went and bought, even if you went and bought, I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Just go and buy Jonathan David over from Lille or something like that. That would take you to another league.
You've been linked with Solanke, haven't you? Dominic Solanke. You've been linked with him.
Yeah, we are, but they ain't going to tell him in the
He'd be better. Iheanacho would even be better from Leicester. He'd be better than Ings. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go and...
There's a lot of people that would be better than Ings, but I'm not just signing people. If that's the threshold of better than Ings, like, there's a shitload of strikers that we can talk about. That's a requirement.
You ain't going to get one. Who would you like to bring in then?
Yeah, who are you going to get then? Who do you want to bring in? Bloody Mbappe or something? You've got to go and get someone realistic.
No, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that's a fucking wide. You're casting a very wide net. If we're just saying better than Ings, and I'm not slapping down.
Give us a couple of names.
Listen. What I'm saying is, I'm not slapping down 35, 40 million on Solanke, whatever they're gonna want, just as a stopgap. This is the thing. Like for me, go out there and find a bargain striker, because what's going to happen is you get another Ings situation. You panic and get a name in because it's January, and then you ain't got money to spend on a striker in the summer, because then we've got Ings and we've got Antonio on the books, and then you've got Mubama if he signs his other deal. Like we've got too many there that aren't good, and we still ain't got that top quality striker. So go out there.
What about the Stuttgart striker? What's his name?
Garassi. Quality. He's only got a 17 million buyout clause as well.
Yeah, so that could be. Yeah, that could be an option. If we can't get a loan, you know what I mean? Like, then maybe we can go and try and get one of these teams to sign do one of these Arsenal dodgy deals and say, loan us your best player. We don't want to pay for him. Do one of them ones like Everton and Arsenal.
Do you reckon you could get Callum Wilson out of Newcastle?
And loan him. What's happening? I don't know. You have to ask Pete that.
We've talked about him on our channel. He signed an extension in the summer, but we wouldn't be surprised if he got sold in the summer.
I'd try and get Callum Wilson if I was West Ham. I think you say West
cheeky
Ham
loan.
read the line.
Imagine that. We wouldn't loan Antonio.
We wouldn't
do their podcast, didn't it?
We wouldn't loan him, but
but all right, it's all right for you to loan players, yeah. It's all right for you to talk about loaning Callum Wilson, but you can't. It's Calvin Phillips, but you can't loan Callum Wilson. Fucking Calvin, whatever the fuck. Why are you being selfish? Why are you being greedy?
Your question didn't even make sense. I'm not going to answer it. So
Yeah,
I'm just saying, why are you being greedy? You want to loan Calvin Phillips, but you can't loan out.
Do you not have any money at your club? Yeah, you got some cash in it, Lawless, bro. Is it pay for him?
No, the cash is looking.
You've got 105 million in the bank, you know.
Well, no, we haven't because we signed players, didn't we?
Yeah, but you still got a lot of money left. FFP.
I don't know. Apparently, we're worrying about FFP because we got UEFA.
Get off. You've just got 105 million in the bank. Flipping hell, Villa got 100 million for Grealish, and they're still living off their FFP now. Signing all their players. You're telling me that West Ham, after a few signings, are worried about FFP?
Yeah, but we ain't got Saudi owners, Pete. We ain't got Saudi owners to hide shit.
Neither Villa. That wasn't. You're going back to Newcastle, but I'm referring to Villa getting 100 million 3 years ago for Grealish and still being able to sign players off the back of that. And they've signed a lot of players.
You think we're paying how much? All right, how much would Callum Wilson be? You tell me. Don't do silly Billy prices.
I reckon 25 million.
I reckon 20, 25.
Yeah, I'd have said
honestly, we signed him from Bournemouth for 20 million. I think anything around there, and Newcastle.
That's by the way, that's bargain. I think that's.
That is a bargain. If you sold him for 25 million,
18 goals last season. The guy can't stay fit. Bless him.
Can't stay fit,
and he's already got 7 goals this season, and he's barely played a minute. Like so.
Nah, he's 31 and he's injury prone.
Pete, think about it. You could do it. You could bring Ings in as part of the deal, and then have Ings. Imagine. I'd love this. Imagine doing it. Ings comes to Newcastle and starts bagging 10, 15 goals. Oh my god! I love that.
There is no chance in hell. I don't think Eddie Howe's got that big of a magic wand. I've got to be honest, but yeah, I don't think Ings is going nowhere. Lawless, I said this to you a couple of weeks ago. Ings on that big fat wage that he's on when he left Villa to go to West Ham, you ain't getting rid of him. He's going to sit there until the last day of his contract and see that bad boy out.
How long's he got left?
He's got 2 years in it.
Probably got a couple of years. Wait,
how much money is he on? Is he on big cash?
Exactly, Billy. Yeah. Exactly.
How long did you sign him on for?
Exactly.
We signed him on a 2-3 year deal. He's on like 120 odd grand a week or something like that. 120.
He's going nowhere, man. He's nicking a living.
Potts,
he's one of our
he ain't going anywhere. He ain't getting that money nowhere else.
Nowhere else, man. You're stuck with him, bruv.
Can I just say, Potts, by the way, since you were saying, oh, that's why I put you 10th because you ain't got a striker. For the team that ain't got a striker, that we're sitting currently 9th, yeah, only 3 points off of the 7th that I predicted us to finish, right? And only 4 points off of 6th with winnable games coming up. So, like I said, you may be writing us off a little bit too much.
Name the 16.
You say winnable games coming up, but you've just scraped past Burnley, which you're not happy with. You're not happy with it, though, are you? You're not happy with the performance.
I'm going for rates for
the worst team in the league.
If you'd have lost that game, you just said you'd have written Europe off.
Yeah, but at the same time, the fact that
Lawless, can you name me the 6 teams? Can you name me the 6 teams that are finishing above you, please?
Man City, Arsenal, Spurs. Let's see.
He doesn't want to say it.
Liverpool,
Man City, Arsenal, Spurs.
Liverpool.
Newcastle. Oh, Liverpool. Thank you.
Liverpool.
Who are the other 2?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think Newcastle they're not gonna go through in the Champions League, so that Champions League prediction of that taking its toll on them probably at the window. So I think once they get their players back, the injuries come back, they're gonna go on a run. So the old Newcastle, and I think the old second club that winds me up. And then I'm gonna go. Man United always shithouse just finishing above us, don't they? Even when they're shit, they always shithouse it. They're going to shithouse it.
Oh my god,
yeah,
mate. How many times have they finished above you?
I need context in this. How long? So we're talking back in the 90s, we've shithoused above you.
Yeah. Fergie used to do it all the time, mate.
All the time. Okay, so West Ham, at the end of every season, we're going fucking treble winners, fucking shithousing above us again.
Yeah,
come on.
Every Fergie was.
So you think you're finishing in 7th in front of Brighton, and Chelsea and Villa.
Yeah.
You don't put
I
Villa.
said that with a straight face as well.
You put Villa down in 8th, do you?
Once they get into the deep waters of that Conference League, mate, and they're going to see if they're going to want to win it, and they're going to realize they can't rotate. They're the new boys to this Thursday, Sunday business. Do you know what I mean? They're going to run out of steam. Everyone get excited, get hyped up. Tobe said it. Do you know what I mean? When the fall happens, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to happen, and you're not going to see it coming.
That's what everyone has been telling Villa that since Emery came in. Oh, just wait for it's not going to last. It's not going to last. Just wait for the fall. The offside trap will be beaten soon. People will start to figure out. We've had it for 13, 14 months now. When's that penny going to drop?
What do you mean? When's the penny going to drop?
When's the penny going to drop that it may not happen and we may not drop off the face of the earth? Or when will we drop off the face of the earth?
Listen, I'm not saying that you're going to sit there and drop back down to your relegation roots and that. What I'm saying is, you know what I mean? You're going to drop some points and you're going to drop a few places down. Yeah,
so
I think
you'll finish above Villa.
I think Villa will get 8th and Chelsea will get 9th.
But you
some reason Potts believes in Chelsea all of a sudden.
But Lawless, you think you will finish above Villa this season?
Yeah, I think we've got a good chance. And I think a striker, if we get striker, that's key. That's key. So if we get that striker in.
And if you don't get that striker in.
If we don't, then it's going to be tough. Like, then we're going to have to hope injuries. Like you said, Billy, if, injuries are kind to us and all of that stuff, we may be able to do something. Yeah, you don't ask me to put my neck on the line when you never ever put your neck on. You won't put your neck on the line against Rangers or Hibs or anyone. So don't ask me to put my neck on the line. It's Premier League, mate.
What I do want to ask you about, Lawless, is quickly about the striker situation. You talk about this Obama, who's supposed to be fantastic. Mubama and Bama, however you want to pronounce his name, you got him, and you're having a go at him not signing, or Moyes being the reason for not signing his contract because he's not getting game time, and yet you still want to bring another striker in, which would surely drop him down the pecking order even more.
Well, no, because I'm not saying that. I've never said that Mubama should be our first choice starting striker every week. I just said he should be in front of Ings. So if Ings is on the bench and Mubama's on the bench, who are you bringing off the bench? You're bringing Mubama off the bench. He should be in front of Ings. So anytime Ings is playing, that's a situation where Mubama should be playing. So we bring in a new striker, then you have that striker as the first choice and Mubama as the second choice. And then Antonio's maybe joint second or put him back on the wing, find something to do with Antonio. He should not be
sticking it there somewhere.
Do you not think he's going to go in January then? Because if that Mubama is going to start playing, right, and playing well, two things really. Does that signal the end of Antonio moving on?
As long as David Moyes is the manager, you'll never see the end of Antonio.
Okay. But secondly, do you think Mubama will sign a new contract?
It's getting close. I think that was a big. Apparently, the club were confident, and that was a big step towards it. He got his goal. He was given the celebration. The time is now. So the time is now. So yeah,
it was an own goal, to be fair.
But it was his goal that they took away from him. It's a technicality. Like he makes that goal. Like that.
It looks
goal
a good player, to be fair. It looks good.
LB, can you do us all a favour? And when Pete's talking, can you make sure that you're watching, please, mate? Because I'm glad that Karen's brought this up. It is arrogant. You're disrespectful, and I'm getting sick of it, mate.
Apparently, when Pete speaks, I don't look at the screen or something. I don't know.
You said that.
You're getting in the chat, man. Pick up Karen. Yeah, LB, you are arrogant.
Pete, why are you turning people away from the screen? What's the matter with you?
I have no idea.
It must be they just don't like Newcastle United. I think it's the only answer.
Maybe that's what it is, man. Maybe that's what it is.
Stop talking.
Hey, Lawless, you've got a turn anyway. You've still got your Newcastle top from back in the 90s, so you like Newcastle.
Nah, listen, I pawned that off for a fucking Greg sandwich.
Great sausage roll, mate.
Not a bad show.
Hey, listen, we're going to wrap up there, man. It's been a great show, and I've enjoyed it as always, man. Make sure you do us a favor. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go follow Billy over on socials, AV Billy and Total Screamers podcast. Make sure you go and follow LB on It's LB. Make sure you go and find Dan United on United First, Pete over at Dave's 2010 and Loaded Mag NUFC, and Lawless at The Lawless and West Ham Fan TV. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it. We're going to go chill out now. I think Wolves and Fulham is about to kind of come to an end soon. I think it's 2-2, so that sounds like a good game. So make sure you go enjoy the end of that one. Make sure you hit a like on your way out. We are out of here, people. Take it easy. Peace.